Leon Sylvers would do all the instrumentation to all the parts that he could play, especially the drums and the bass parts, because he was a bass player and a drummer. This is in 1979. There were no drum machines.
No.
He would take a mallet and kneel down next to your kick on his knees, and he would hit that. And he'd do that for 6 minutes. Then, literally, just that's all you hear this song. Then he would go in the booth and he'd listen. And if one beat was out of place, he'd tell the engineer, stop, we got to do that again.
This is the honest guy.
He did that. And he did each part of the drums to the snare.
As a drummer, you can relate.
You
He
understand
started with the bass.
With the bass.
He came up to the tom.
To the snare, hi-hat, and so on. He put down each part like that.
That's exactly.
Then he's sitting there with his bass.
He was a bass player.
And he played that bass until it all locked. It had to lock. Here's what he did, play it.
That's right.
You know, and if it's something put over there, something wrong. But to make a long story short, now here we come. He gets through all this. I'm watching this because it's fascinating. I'm standing there with him 13, 14 hours, watching him go through this process because it's fascinating to watch somebody work like this. Now it comes our turn. All right. So he, once again, he's very meticulous. He knows exactly what he wants. So we're in there, Scotty. Now, you've gotten an idea of the different personalities up here. Scotty's personality, and especially then, he had a temper like that.
Patience.
His patience was like that. Scotty was like that, period. But at any rate, what made this so beautiful was Leon's trying with all his heart to get Scotty. We're doing this background. And there's also a lead run that he wanted Scotty to do over and over again. And it's like a tool, it's not even a bar, it's ooh, something like that, ooh. And he couldn't get it, ooh, that's the run. So when he'd do that, Leon said, no, that's not quite that, that's not quite what I'm talking about, that's not quite what, Scotty. So he did that so low. So Scotty said, you know what? Scotty, tell me what you told me.
You sing it, because I can't do it. I can't do it.
He said, you know what you want, you sing it.
Yeah. See,
The Sylvers, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic. To get you all lined up like the Army for a minute, Foster, I'm going to ask you to take your brother all the way down on our right-hand side and introduce them so we can get individual shots.
Okay, the first one over there is Leon.
All right, and next to...
The history of the finest eras of R&B music is a study of the rise of cities brimming with talent and creativity. The sounds of Detroit and Memphis in the 60s gave way to the Philadelphia sound in the 70s. However, as the 70s progressed into the 80s, the core R&B music shifted westward to the developing sound of Los Angeles, and no one was more responsible for the explosion of great music in the early 80s than this man. The centerpiece of today's video is all about Leon Sylvers. Before we start, let's be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push the notification bell to be sure you won't miss on any more uploads. Now without further ado, let's cue that intro. True, there are some similarities between the Jackson 5 and the Sylvers. Both were 1970s family ensembles that profited from the abilities of songwriter and producer Freddie Perrin, a member of the MOTOWN collective The Corporation. Both were regular pinups and write on various adolescent publications, Soul Magazine and Ebony Magazine's sister publication Black Stars. Another unusual connection was Edmund Sylvers' voice as Marlon in the Jackson 5 cartoon show, which premiered on WBPTV in September 1971, and is still occasionally aired on VH1 and in rebrand syndication. Born Leon Frank Sylvers III on March 7th, 1953 in South Bend, Indiana, Leon was born at Indiana University South Bend, where his father was studying. 3 days later, his family relocated to Memphis, Tennessee. In 1956, when Sylvers was 2 or 3 years old, his family rode the train to Los Angeles near Adams and Crenshaw, where his father had found work. He describes finding MOTOWN at the age of 7, particularly bassist James Jamerson and drummer Benny Benjamin, as his first and primary musical influences. At the same time, Sylvers' father taught him and his siblings 4- and 5-part harmony in the style of the Four Freshmen. His mother, an opera singer, also passed along musical genes. Olympia, Leon, Charmaine, and James. The eldest Sylvers began singing as the Little Angels in their hometown of Memphis, Tennessee, under the tutelage of their mother Shirley Sylvers, a former opera singer. After winning local talent competitions, they relocated to Harlem, New York, where they discovered a more devoted following for their combination of pop and R&B. Later, they moved to Los Angeles.
Even came to be. How did you start writing and beginning to put music together for your group?
Well, it did start when I was around 8, 7, because I would act like I'm writing all the Motown, my own Motown songs.
Right.
And I did it so much that it developed into a habit, and I started teaching my brothers and sisters. I needed harmony, so I was like, let's see if they can sing too, you know. And everybody held the harmony great, and my mother heard us and told my father, and he taught us. He wanted to see if we could learn a Four Freshman type harmony, four-part harmony, because it was 4 of us then.
Right.
And we did. Everybody stayed on key, so that was our introduction into the industry as just harmony singers, because we didn't have a lead back then.
Right. And talk to us about sort of how the group actually got born and then your actual...
Shirley Sylvers, a single mother, tried hard to keep her children out of games, particularly the boys. The siblings appeared as guests on several television shows featuring Dinah Shore, Groucho Marx, and Danny Thomas. During school breaks, the siblings toured the United States and Europe as the opening act for Ray Charles and Johnny Mathis. After their parents' divorce, Leon and his elder siblings moved in with various relatives until reconnecting with their mother Shirley and 4 younger siblings in Los Angeles, California. His siblings and mother relocated to Watts in 1965. Leon entered a local talent contest in 1970 with his family performance, which now included younger brothers Edmund and Ricky. They easily won the talent event because to their variety, dancing, and harmonies. In 1971, entrepreneur Mike Curb signed them to MGM Records and promoted them under the name The Sylvers. The other family act signed to the MGM label was the Osmonds.
That happened, my mother and father separated, and we were living in the Nickerson Garden projects, and I remember the Jacksons came out, that first album, ABC, no, the other one, and I was looking at it and looking out the window, and I said, well, I remembered how we was on TV when we were younger, just singing harmony. And I said, well, we're gonna need a lead singer, we can do this, you know. So I worked with Edmund every day. He was reluctant at first, but I said, even if we do an hour or 2 a day, and he was only 9 then, by him being 10, he'll developed that muscle to sing. So he kept at it and we kept at it, and then we started writing our own songs then. And all of a sudden we did this talent show at the school I went to, Verbum Day. And we took second place because we didn't have a band, but we had all harmony, so we did a cappella. And in that crowd, there was a guy named Wiley Brooks who saw us, and he was friends with Mike Lloyd and Bob Webb at MGM Records. So they took us there. And at this time I had written a song and I was playing the bass. I got a red bass. And we were playing a song called Misdemeanor, which wound up being my little brother's song, Foster. But we played it to Mike Lloyd and them at MGM. And that's all they needed to hear. I didn't know later though that they put us on the shelf because the Osmonds was coming out. And but hey, that's the business, I get it. You know?
Their first hit was The Exotic. Fool's Paradise peaking at number 14 R&B in September 1972. The follow-up, The Ballad, Wish That I Could Talk to You, went to number 10 R&B around December 1972. Jerry Butler produced the Sylvers' self-titled album, which was released in November 1972 and peaked at number 15 R&B in early 1973. Their second album, The Sylvers 2, featured the singles Stay Away From Me and Through the Love in My Heart. When the band started working with arranger Jerry Peters, Leon would compose song demos by recording himself playing bass while singing the lyrics and lead melody into a tape recorder. Meanwhile, much as Motown opted to separate Michael Jackson as a solo recording artist, Pride decided to do the same with the group's youngest member, Foster. Misdemeanor, a Leon written track, went up and down the charts until landing at number 7 R&B on Billboard's charts in the summer of 1973, giving Foster a top 10 R&B and top 30 mainstream success on his debut. Besides Misdemeanor, additional songs written by Leon on Foster Sylvers were I'll Get You in the End, which may be classified as James Brown funk Sylvers style and the dazzling kiddie popish. Big Things come in small packages. The group's debut single for Capitol Records was Boogie Fever, which was written by Perrin. On the reverse side, Leon Sylvers' song Freestyle garnered some exposure. Some saw the Sylvers' choice to part ways with Freddie Perrin as a career destruction. It looked to be so. The Sylvers would never have any more pop hits following their divorce, but the ensemble was maturing vocally, and Leon in particular wanted to express his own musical ideas. They didn't want to be associated with the bubblegum soul term. Their next LP, New Horizons, was produced by the Sylvers and peaked at number 43 R&B in January 1978. The same year, the group signed with Casablanca Records. Leon, along with the group's manager Al Ross, produced their label debut, Forever Yours. Eventually, the Sylvers signed to Dick Griffey's Solar Records, the group's debut album on Solar. Concept, produced by Leon, was released in October 1981. Though it was acclaimed for its mix of soul rock and pop, none of the LP singles charted. Bizarre. Released in November 1984, the production chores were divided between Leon, Foster, and James Sylvers.
Well, we met him through touring when I was with the Sylvers.
Right.
They did a Soul Train tour, and it was Soul Train Gang tour with Don Cornelius and all that.
Right.
And we were one of the artists picked on the gig. And there was a song we did, a Childlight song in our show, Are You My Woman?
Right.
And Dick would always come to the side of the stage and watch us for some reason. I couldn't figure it out. Till years later, after I was producing with him, he said, man, you know that song? That was a bad move right there. And I was like, oh, that's why he came. You know, but yeah, that's how I met him, and I played something, and he said, okay, I'm gonna let you this group called Shalimar, and you know.
Right.
So that was the first step. So I said, okay, I ain't gonna drop the ball now, because it was like I was ready after. When you do things as a kid and take it serious, it's like you're a little bit ahead of everybody, and that's what I was noticing as time went on. Oh, they didn't do this, they didn't do, you know, so I just knew I was ready to do it, you know.
Right. Did you sense that it was, like you said, you found that time and was ready to move on, and that the group sort of accepted that, or they felt like, okay, we're with good management in our eyes, and it's good that Leon's doing what's good for him, and we're cool with that?
Well, I was kind of kicked out of the group, but it was cool because there wasn't too much of a family thing. It was like, I wanted to go produce anyway. So that's how that went.
I just wanted to get a sense of that, because a lot of times when groups are pulled in all these different directions, it can really be heated. So I was trying to really get a sense as to, you felt I'm marching my own drum, and you know they'll do their thing and that's fine, versus you know, we can't get along.
It wasn't quite like that. You know, everybody was growing up and they wanted to have more say-so in things, and you know, I just felt the vibe that, you know, I wanted to produce because I was ready, and I actually. I thought I'd missed the stage thing, but it was cool. You know, I like to figure out how to make things work. I'm kind of like that anyway, so, you know, it was cool. I didn't, it was a learning thing for me, that's how.
Leon Sylvers wrote and produced several successes for Shalimar, The Whispers, Dynasty, Gladys Knight and the Pips, Evelyn Champagne King, Stacy Lattisaw, The Spinners, Gina Foster, Christo, the Brothers Johnson, Glenn Jones, Howard Hewitt, Gene Page, Lakeside, and Real to Real. Leon Sylvers released a solo self-titled album for MOTOWN in 1989, and his single, Let's Go Through It, became a Steppers classic. Many rap and hip-hop artists have sampled Sylvers' music. In the 90s, Leon would work with R&B New Jack producer Teddy Riley on his group Blackstreet's debut album. Leon helps co-write Blackstreet's US Top 10 hit, Before I Let You Go. Leon will also work with Riley again, this time helping write 2 songs on New Kids on the Block's Who Face the Music, as well as the song Love Online on Guy's Reunion album Guide 3. Riley credited Leon for his ability to make lyrics work with a given melody, said he was probably the #1 best. Leon co-produced 9 of the 10 tracks on Polygram's self-titled debut album by Double Action Theatre in 1992. Sylvers produced In Danby's Pink Elephant CD in 2009, which features songs written by Sylvers and his son, Leon Sylvers IV. In December 2010, the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences nominated Leon Sylvers' Best Engineer Album, Non-Classical, for In Danby's album Pink Elephant. Now, before we go, I have a question for you all. What is your favorite song from the Sylvers, or your favorite song that Leon wrote or produced?